All right. It's a beautiful Tuesday. Still Tuesday, right? Let's get into some daily discussion. All right. So, another day. What are we looking at? We got a couple really interesting topics coming out. A couple from a few days ago, but some of this stuff is from today. Let's get into it. We'll start at the bottom. So, big note here, very interesting, and I think something that we need to kind of keep an eye on as these types of activities or attacks and things kind of manifest and get a little larger. So, what has happened? So, AGCO, I don't know if you pronounce it Agco or AGCO. Let's go with Agco. That sounds kind of cool. Machinery producer, right? So they're building agriculture, right? Machinery, right? Think John Deere, think, Cat, think big machines out there pulling apart, sorting, doing all the fun stuff, at scale, right? Of farming. So the company itself, right now hit by, ransomware. Don't know the details of what exactly is going on in that space. Not exactly sure what all is actually happening. Doesn't really matter. But I think the point is looking at a sector that has now been impacted by ransomware and attacks. And I think it goes back to the types of thinking of, well, this isn't going to happen to me, right? As much as we want to believe that we're not, potentially impacted by cyber threats, we are in our everyday lives. And this kind of thing could have a real knock-on effect to the supply chain that eventually, stems into food production and then feeding people. So, it's not so much to just sit around and think, okay, my company's too small, or it's not something that we need to invest in, or whatever. Actually, Agco has a CISO. It's very interesting. The guy actually came out of, you can look him up on LinkedIn, it doesn't matter. But, he came out of government, so traditional kind of government roles, very government focused. I'm sure he's a very capable person, but this looks like his first, real, corporate job. Hey, look, I get it. I was there once too, spent a long time in DoD, and then went to corporate America. So he's been in the role since October of 2021. So 9 months in, apparently into the gig, and he's hit with a ransomware that's making the news. Not a great day. Definitely feel for him. But again, where are we in the supply chain? Where is my company in the supply chain? If I was impacted, who else would I hurt? Who are my customers? Who is downstream? What does that mean to my brand? That's exactly what Agco is thinking about right now, and that's exactly the kind of thing that most organizations need to be thinking about when they are looking at what their cyber risk posture is and what they can do about it. Actually, this is a big kudos and shout out to a client of ours, Talos. It used to be Talos Trading. We've been working with them since they launched a couple of years ago. We've been building out and supporting their cybersecurity program, the privacy program, and everything else. We've got a great team in there led by Chris Covell out of our Vancouver presence. These guys are just doing some amazing stuff with digital assets and the platform that they have and what they're building. But what I really love about them is they really took to heart exactly what they needed to do in being serious about tackling cybersecurity and privacy initiatives for their company, for their platform, and they did it. They went through, they supported it. Anton's a great CEO. He's put in place a great team, and he realized that security was, kind of very center to the brand and the capabilities that this company that he has built and him and his team are building is to, just what they need to do. So here's an example of a great organization, a startup that recognized security was a differentiator for them. It wasn't just table stakes. It needed to be something that they could point to and be proud of as they were growing their business, as they're trying to attract investors. So again, kudos to Anton and the team there at Talos. Again, congratulations, guys. $1.25 billion valuation on $105 million Series B raised. Just phenomenal. All right, let's get back into some stuff. So F5 came out with a couple of releases, and this is just one of those, do I need to worry about this or not kind of segments? Here's the short answer. Yes, if you're running F5, right? I think that's important to differentiate it. Like obviously if you're not running F5, don't worry about it. If you are running F5, you probably know you're running F5. These are not, SOHO and small business solutions. So, do take a look at how things are working in your big IP. Get those into the hopper for addressing. It's, not something I would want to, kind of stall and, sit on. So, get that in and, start scheduling your blackout dates. This obviously came out on May 4th. That was last Wednesday. Maybe many of you are still waiting for that change window, but, I'd get on it. And last one, AlienVault comes to the table. AlienVault, right? Who remembers them? Very cool. They came, out with a nice blog post of what to look for in a vCISO as a service. I'm now questioning if AlienVault, which I believe is now owned by IBM or Verizon, it's Verizon that owns them, as a software platform, are they pivoting to try to get into the vCISO space? Usually when you see SaaS platforms or companies talking about this sort of thing, it might mean that they're pivoting, and I'm going to genuinely follow how they're planning on doing that, just given the nature of what SideChannel does in providing vCISOs into the space. But, definitely a great article and some really insightful components that I really agree with, right? So not just having the vCISO, right? It should be both the candidate and the additional as service capabilities. Like that's paramount. The vCISO is just a person. You want a program, and a person is not a program. So I think that's a very powerful metric, and that's a very important component to when you're kind of coming across and looking at how do I get security leadership? How do I look to have the right leadership in place, and for what amount of time? Is it interim? Is it long term? Right? Whatever it is. So good things to look for in a candidate. And again, these will be linked down below. But obviously, executive level advisories, like can you speak to executives? Do you have an executive presence? Do you know how to talk about risk, not just talk tech? Right? Be able to actually identify gaps, develop a roadmap, run tabletops. Did these guys read SideChannel's services list? It looks very similar. And what to look for as a provider. Can you bring in a team? Can you bring in other capabilities? Again, it's beyond just the person. So kudos to AlienVault. I think this is a great blog post. Take a look at this. Totally support it, just from a services standpoint. Again, this is Brian Haugli. Thanks for listening to the daily discussion. Hope everybody has a great day, great week. I know I am. Get out there, be safe.